So this video is different. I don't know, I definitely hesitated. I think I already have tears in my throat. Hesitated making this video. I tried to make this video 3 times already, 2 times already, or I don't even know. But it just didn't feel right, and I was like, let me go back and speak my fucking truth, you know? That's really what I want to do, and encourage other people to do the same. I wrote this, can't even really see it. The light is crazy. But I wrote this thing last year, and just as I was going along with my feelings, like I wrote it to be honest with myself, honestly, because sometimes like you'll experience something and it's like, did I really experience that? Like, did that shit really happen? And for me, it really did, according to this here paper. So this video is about my miscarriages. So if you want to hear, stay tuned. It's story time. So last year I had 2 miscarriages. I found out that I was pregnant in July of 2017, July 4th, and then on July 6th I had a miscarriage, and I was so excited, and I did those little surprise videos and was like, let me tell Joe, and he was so excited, and I had the whole thing on video, and then it was like a short-lived excitement. Like, the pain set in, and I had a freaking miscarriage. And the crazy thing is that when you get pregnant, like, because miscarriage is not a topic that is talked about, when you get pregnant, you don't see that coming. Like, it's not something. But I learned that, I want to say, I can't even check right now, but I want to say 25% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. That is something that women need to know. Like, you absolutely need to know that, so you don't feel alone, so you don't feel like you're alone. Like, it's painful because like from my experiences, like when you have a baby, or like when someone has a baby, the conversation continues. Like, when you're pregnant and you stay pregnant, the conversation continues. They have so many books that are publicized and on movies and out where, you know, like the book What to Expect When Expecting. Like, I didn't know there's books What to Expect after you have a miscarriage, and I did find that book like a month ago, which is like a year and over a year later. But yeah, it's really it's a shock to the system because no one talks about it. And I do find the more that you open up about it, people will be like, oh yeah girl, I have 4 miscarriages. Like, dang, that's crazy that you never know, because people are just kind of unsure if they should talk about it, I think. And then, so, okay, July 6th I had a miscarriage, and I went to the hospital. Like, it was like, it was a weird experience because I'm a private person. Like, I feel like I'm pretty private. And like, if you know me, I'll tell you things, but like, it's just really a private situation, and I'm not good with I deal with things with humor, so like handling other people's emotions is really hard for me when I'm really processing something, and I've never done, nothing like this has ever happened to me, so I could just handle myself. And so I chose not to tell Joe until after everything was done at the hospital, and I went by myself. And some people might find that odd or whatever, but I did things the way that felt good to me, and that's what I would suggest to anybody going through a miscarriage, is do what's right for you. Like, don't care about anybody, deal with your own emotions. And so yeah, I went to the hospital by myself, and then I came back and I told Joe, and it was even hard telling Joe. Like, how do you tell somebody? I don't know, it's all just weird. Like, it's a blur, that kind of thing, on how I told Joe or what I said, whatever. But Joe, he's just such a sweet person. He's just such a sweet man. Okay, and then I found out that several people around me were pregnant, which I think is something typical that happens to women when they miscarry or they're trying to get pregnant. They find out that all the people around them are pregnant or having a baby or something like that, and so it just makes it a little bit like harder. And then, so I had read all these things, because you go to instantly research, you know, And I read all these things, and it was like, yeah, you can get pregnant right away, blah blah blah. And that wasn't my intentions. I mean, it wasn't my intentions, but I also didn't do anything to stop. So like, um, August came and things were weird, and I found out on August 3rd that I was pregnant again. And then everything was great. I went to the hospital, or to the doctor, immediately, because I was like, what happened last time? Like, I don't want it to happen again. Went immediately, and then they were like, we'll get you in here like right away. And like, I was probably a day or two shy of going to my first ever pregnancy checkup, and I had a miscarriage August 31st. Now, the second miscarriage, really, you're like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And then again, people around you are pregnant, and in my particular case, someone really close to me was pregnant. Someone very, very close to me was pregnant, and was having a, like, doing all the things that you do, like the gender reveal, baby shower, like all these things. And of course, like, I mean, I don't recommend, like, if you're dealing with your own personal things, like, don't go outside of your, don't show up, or don't go do fake the funk. That's what I'll call it. Like, don't go fake the funk. Like, if you don't feel it, then don't do it. And the people around you should understand. Like, they should a million % understand. I'm not sure how understanding the people were in my circle, but it was really hard though. Like, really hard. Like, I lost a lot that second time around. Like, I lost more. I lost a lot, man, that second time around. So also the second time, they say, like, when the heartbeat stops, like, you get a migraine, and like, I experienced that. And so I had like a really, sorry, I keep itching my head and stuff. I think I'm just nervous, but I had an intense migraine, like really, really intense, and I had to be medicated for that while I was at the hospital for the second miscarriage. Joe was with me at the hospital for the second one, because the night before, it was a Wednesday night, and I had ate one of my favorite foods. It was not a healthy choice at all, and I just thought I had some stomach cramping, because it was like I'm gaseous or something from the food. But it was like the most severe pain I had ever felt, which I could only describe, I definitely, as life being ripped from your body. Like, that was exactly what was going on. And so I woke up. I think I tried to go back to sleep or something, and woke up and went to the emergency room. Okay. So that was like, I guess that was like the experience. And I went into like a pretty deep depression after the 31st. And then around my birthday, which was September 9th, I feel like so what people need to know, I'll just say, so around September 9th, like, that was my birthday. That was like, 10 days later, 8 days later, 9, whatever. And I was still processing things, and so it was just a very weird experience. And like, I lost so many things in the experience. Like, I felt like I lost relationships with people who I absolutely held dear to my heart. Like, I feel like I lost relationships because I couldn't communicate what I needed, and I don't feel like people took the time to be empathetic and to be kind. Like, I feel like I was only allotted like a 2-month window, like, or in that was actually like a 9-day window that I was allotted time to process my emotions, and then I should have answered everybody clear. Like, that's what I feel like I was expected to do, and who knows. But I also after that 9 days, like, I feel like I was given another 2 months, like, okay, do you feel better? And it was like, people ask me the worst questions to me, like, and in that moment, like, things are hard, like, things are so hard. And I was asked at one point, like, so it probably wasn't that bad because you didn't get to hear the baby's heartbeat. Like, no, it wasn't. You're right. No, it was really bad because I had life ripped from my body. So that's pretty intense. Let's see. I just lost a lot, man. I lost a lot. And sometimes I do think you need to go through things in order to grow, in order to become who you're supposed to be, and like experience things. And not like I'm a very empathetic person, and so it wasn't like, oh, you need to. I could empathize. I couldn't be like, oh, I know exactly how you feel because you had a miscarriage before having one. But I could definitely, certainly empathize, be empathetic, and be understanding, and give a person time to heal, and not just expect that person to be like back to their normal self. And so, okay. I keep looking down. I wrote all these things down, like I said, so I'm looking at that paper. So some of the things that were really hard for me were having to explain what I needed. Like, I just assumed that people in my circle that I've known my whole life would just rally around me, and just do, I don't know, like just rally and just freaking be there. And my type of be there was like physically be there. And like when you think of like the 5 love languages, like mine, I haven't taken the test yet, so I don't know like what all two mine. I know you have 2 love languages. Mine for sure is time spent. And I felt like I was very alone, and I just had to explain what I needed. I was even told, like, you're married, like you have your husband, like what? Why should I be there? Like, all right, that's cool. So I definitely did not have the greatest support system, and that's my honest truth. Like, I didn't, and I would have done things differently if the tables were turned, and I could honestly say that. Like, I would not have done the things that were done to me. And again, well, not even again, because I didn't say this, but people don't know in a situation of a miscarriage, because it is like something that's not talked about. Is people don't know exactly what to say, what not to say. I get that. Like, I totally understand. I would just say be there, like literally be there, like sit next to the person. If they want to cry, if they want to laugh, like just be present, be in the room with them. Like, people, that's what you need sometimes, is physical touch. Like, you need someone to reassure you, like you're okay, like you're gonna make it. Because in that moment, you do not feel like you're gonna make it. And I just wish that I had me to tell me, like, you're gonna make it. And I did that for myself. Like, I started making videos for myself, just telling myself, you're okay, you're gonna make it, whatever, you know. But I wish I had that. And honestly, I did not have that, except from Joe. That, which leads me to my next point of feeling the level of shame that I felt. The level of shame that I felt. You should never feel shamed for something that is out of your control. Like, but I felt shame. Like, I told women in my family, in my circle, and I felt like people kind of backed away, as opposed to coming, coming and being around you. I felt like people very much shied away, and like were like, ooh, I don't know what to say. And I'll say, I've never dealt with anything this painful. I've lost my grandpa, I lost my grandma, like some great grandparents or whatever, but like I've never experienced life leaving your body. That's the best way, again. But I just felt like shame from women. Like, I felt like, how can I, wow. I don't, like, at that particular moment in my life, like, no one I've known had a miscarriage. Like, no one had said anything about it. So I just felt very alone and very isolated, and very much like, you've shamed the woman race. Like, wow, and no one reassured me that I didn't. And maybe I didn't say that, but I mean, no one was reassuring me, like, at all. Like, it, I have my sister, she called me, she definitely checked on me, like, and I'm like, but just the things that I wanted did not happen all the way. And so my sister, she definitely supported me. Again, she wasn't physically there, and I think I needed that. Like, I wanted somebody, like, I wanted my mom or my sister or my friends to come and, like, physically hug me. Like, hug me. You all have babies. Like, hug me and tell me it's okay, and, like, just come and tell me. But I didn't get that. On my birthday, even, like, I was like, everybody's gonna come over here. Everybody's gonna come and wake me up and, like, be super excited, and, like, no, I didn't get that either. And so one thing also is, don't expect things from people when you have a miscarriage. That is a hard lesson that I learned. Like, don't expect anybody to be there. If people come, be happy, but don't expect anything. You deal with yourself, and it's hard to hear. And I don't know if I'm wrong or what or whatever, but that's how I feel. Is like, just don't expect things. You set yourself up for absolute failure, and that's what I did, which made this process like 10 times harder to me. I usually handle everything with humor. Like I think that humor takes you out of those bad moments, but I do think that sometimes you need to experience some of those moments to, like, it's like you can't laugh your way out of everything and like walk away from situations, and this was one of the ones like I realized, like, oh, you can't just laugh it away. Like, I remember so many times just telling Joe, like, I just want to be myself again, like I just want to be happy again, I just want to be myself. And not in my mind, like at the moment, and again, no one tells you this. Like at the doctors, they didn't tell me when I was having a miscarriage, like, hey, your hormones are gonna be like this all over the place. Like you're gonna experience some things. No one said that, and I guess like maybe you should know that, because when you get pregnant, you get pregnancy hormones and all this stuff, and so maybe I should have like known that, but I didn't. People around me didn't. Nobody knew, whatever. So again, like I couldn't laugh myself out of the situation fast enough. I feel like I laughed at certain things that happened during the miscarriages, but like I couldn't laugh myself out of it like I usually could, and that was so uncomfortable and so awkward for me, and like I'm just something I was unused to. But it definitely helped me grow. Like it definitely helped me grow, and there were lessons. Like I learned a lot from them. Things that like that are so deep that I couldn't even. I don't know. I can't even explain. Like I was asking for certain things. Be careful what you ask for. Like I was asking the universe and asking the Creator for certain things, and hey, I was shown my lessons in a really horrific way, I think. But I get the point. Like I understand what I needed to be shown, and I like it hurts, but I get it. You know. And also, this, I pride myself in being like, I am not, like, the term adult is like a negative word to me, because people, when you become an adult, like you change up, like you take yourself too far too serious. And so I always prided myself in being like, no, I'm just a tall person, like I'm just a little kid that got tall, and I have these things that, excuse me, I'm allowed to do adult things. But this forced me into having like adult conversations. It was very, very hard and very uncomfortable again, but I do think that it was necessary. I've grown in this area. Like I've grown a lot, and I have so much to say. Like I've grown a lot, and I'm proud of myself for that. And this situation brought that out of me. So life gives you some lessons, and lemons, and I have made lemonade out of this situation. Like I feel great. Let's see. I definitely, it's like November. These happened last August, so it's over a year. And as far as trying again goes, like to say the fear is real, like, oh my God, the fear is real. Because at the doctors, they tell you like, oh, until you gotta have 3 miscarriages for us to find out why. Like, is this some fucking game? Like, no, like, tell me what's going on. Like, help me, because I don't want to have a 3rd miscarriage. Like, it hurts. It's uncomfortable. And so it's uncomfortable. And so, yeah, it's not something you just want to go through. So please, like, I don't know why they have that 3 rule. Like, that's weird. It's so weird reading back on this paper, because it's a year ago, and the thoughts, like I said, I wrote down these things, so it's like crazy. I very, very, very much isolated myself, because what else do you do when you feel like you don't have a support system, and like you feel shame? Like you isolate yourself. Like that's what I did. I was having really great days, and I was having really bad days, and in certain situations too, like this, like you can make an active choice to stay in this mindset and to be like, oh my God, this is horrible, like absolutely horrible. But you can also make an active choice to like come out of this and be, have good days, and like choose to smile. Like I know that there are moments where you're like no, like moments where you're just sad, and you're like, I gotta stay in this, like I'm so sad. But getting sun, drinking water, eating fruit, changing up my routine really helped me to come out of those moments. I definitely wanted the feeling to be over, and it's so cool to read this paper and understand, like, the feelings that still hurt are the relationships that I lost. Like, I don't feel pain from these miscarriages. It's so much more of like the people who I'm not like we aren't close anymore, and like it hurt because I feel like this would have made us stronger or closer, and so it really hurt. So that's probably the worst thing that I'm still struggling with. So wow, crazy things. My body, like the changes that your body goes through. Wow, the change that your body goes through when you find out that you're pregnant. You like understand, like you have all these raging hormones going through, like all this stuff, and like not raging hormones, but your hormones are weird because you have a life that just enters your body. Like hello. So with a miscarriage, those hormones now go like that really fast, and so you're mentally trying to get a grasp on things, and so your hormones and like everything is just all over the place, and wires are crossed, and your communication will be off, and things will be off. But it was uncomfortable. I was gaining weight. I started exercising. I wanted abs like so hard, like so hard. And I last November, December, like I made a video on my Instagram, and I was close to abs. My stomach is still flat, but I stopped working out just because of all the moves that I had been through. I didn't have a consistent workout routine anymore. But once I had that second miscarriage, like I wasn't far along or anything like that. Like my stomach wasn't showing or nothing like that. But I started emotionally eating, and so my stomach started getting a little bit bigger, and I'm like, this is not what I want. So I definitely put in like work. Like I was like, I'm gonna get abs like tomorrow because I can't see this, So exercising definitely helps, and it helps with, it's like a mood stabilizer as well. I just want to talk about a couple things, like for the people on the opposite side, like if it's your partner, your friends, your family, co-workers, anyone who you share this with that's not like your husband or you physically going through it, or someone who's experienced a miscarriage. Like just people on the opposite end, take into consideration that this person has just gone through a very traumatic experience, on top of their hormones are all over the place. So be gentle, be kind, and if you Google what to say to a person who's had a miscarriage, do not inform them that you Googled it. Like, oh, well, I Googled what to say, so give me something. Like, I could give a fuck less if you Google. I'm happy that you did, but like, I don't care, like, just tell me something you found off the list. But to the people who've not experienced this, don't think about the other person. Like, think about them. Like, you are not of concern in that moment. Like, you are absolutely not of concern. So take into consideration how that person is dealing. Give them time. Like, you have to have time to process this. Like, clearly this is over a year later, and today I woke up very emotional, like really sad. But that was again about the relationships that are not as strong as they once were, and how do I mend those relationships? That's what I woke up with the thoughts of today. So that was hard. But you go through a lot. Like, you go through a lot. No one knows what this person is mentally processing and what their secret thoughts are. So, like, take into consideration where they're at, and be very gentle. Like, just be gentle. Just be gentle. Because there's things, like, my personal thoughts were like I'm reading this right now, and I'm like, one of the things when I used to go to the doctor before getting pregnant, they'll say, how many pregnancies have you had? And I would say 0. Now I answer that question different, and I know that it's hard for me, because this was like a really happy, like, I've had 0 pregnancies, like, yeah, and now I answer it, and I'm like, they say, how many pregnancies have you had? And I say 2. And then they say, they ask you, and then they say, how many living children do you have? So then I say 0. So it's like, that's like a blow. Like, 2 pregnancies, 0, back to my 0 answer. That was 0 pregnancies, so I didn't have to answer 0 to, like, I don't have any living children. And that's painful. Like, that hurts, And then, like, my thoughts going forward, like, 9 months later, both dates, 9 months later, you think about, like, the what ifs, those pop in. No one considers that, And the people who are pregnant with you, when you found out you're pregnant, they actually had their babies, and there's still no conversation back to you, like, hey, are you good? And there are some friends of mine that will ask me, like, hey, are you good? But again, this is an uncomfortable subject and for people to talk about. But I think, like, ask your friends, bro. Like, ask. reach out to your people and ask them, are they okay? Like, if you're watching this video and you're on the opposite end and you're like, what do I do? Like, my friend, my sister, my wife, my partner, my daughter, my granddaughter, whatever, like, they just experienced this, like, what do I do? Like, reach out to them constantly, like, afterwards. Even if you feel like you're doing it too much, just be like, because it feels good to know that somebody still cares. Because if you had a baby, they would be like, oh, how's little tutu, how's little boo boo? Like, you know, they'll ask, like, how's the baby doing? Or how are you doing? I don't have insurance, so there's no follow-up care for a miscarriage. Like, I didn't get any follow-up mental care. And mental health is, mental health is so important because it can make or break you. It can take you down. And I'm so thankful, like, I didn't let it take me down. So, whew. This is a really quick ending, but ladies, if you're experiencing a miscarriage, or if you have experienced it, or if you're watching this video looking for some kind of, like, help me kind of thing, like, I just want you to know, like, you can reach out to me, but go seek medical help if it's necessary. If you feel really dark and you just can't pull yourself, do not be afraid to seek medical help. Like, talk to somebody, because you just experienced something trauma. Be real with yourself, and just be gentle, be kind, and be loving to yourself. And don't just, this wasn't just an every other day experience. Like, even though there are so many women who've experienced it. And open up and share your story, because it really helps you to get it out of your body and say it. It helps. Like, I feel really good right now. I feel like I'm getting closure to that part of my story. Like, I feel really good. So, and this lighting is bomb. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, I feel really good. So, I just want you to know, like, I really just want you to know, if you see this video, like, this is the other side of a miscarriage and reoccurring miscarriages. This is the other side. So, have a great day, a great week. I hope this video helps somebody out there. I hope you can relate, or I hope that you can be more empathetic after watching this video and just understand, like, it's not just a cakewalk when you have a miscarriage. Like, it's not a cakewalk when you have a baby. So, you know, like, give yourself grace and give the people around you grace. And love you guys. Love you all who are watching. Love you, interwebs. Bye.